She's a mother, she's our only queen of love. Now let's pray.
There is no wisdom nor legal support for a reproductive health bill. Why do we say this? The Constitution is our guidebook. And what does the document command? Number one, that government equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception. With this provision in our Constitution, you would think that the RH bill would at least say something that would protect the unborn, but there is nothing in the RH bill that says that. Instead, whenever the RH bill speaks of the unborn, it refers to it as an unplanned, unintended, unwanted pregnancy. However, the same Constitution tells government to safeguard the right to health of the people, especially of women and motherhood. It even commands the state to protect consumers from hazardous substances. The bill, however, makes it mandatory to do the opposite. The Doctors for Life have spoken. Countless lawsuits in the West have drawn millions of dollars by way of damages to women victims. Question is, will our government pay damages for the deaths and mortal illness brought upon Filipino women? Or can the Filipino mothers or their orphan families sue the foreign agencies that have funded and continue to fund these programs to this day? The answer is, to the latter is no. There is no legal recourse even against the latter foreign agencies. They are immune from suit under the Convention on the Privileges and Immunities of the United Nations. But ours is a culture of life. Proponents of the RH bill tell us that widespread access to contraception will lead to the reduction of abortion. Far from it. The truth is that contraception is a gateway to abortion. This has been established beyond reasonable doubt. No contraceptive works 100%, and even the Island of Mother Institute, in its survey, found that between 1994 and 95, of the 10,000 abortion patients, more than half were using contraceptives during the months that they became pregnant. These are what the RH bill calls unplanned pregnancies. The fact is, as people or women turn to contraception, there will be a rise, not a fall in the abortion rate. I'm quoting the words not of an opponent of the RH bill, but of Mr. Malcolm Potts, the former European representative to the Philippines and the former medical director of the International Planned Parenthood Federation. The bill mocks parenthood. It gives not just adolescents but also children. Yes, children, sexual and reproductive rights. In Section 2 of the bill, it even prioritizes children for RH information, services, methods, supplies, and devices. This is not all. In the same section of the bill, government guarantees. Remember, guarantee means it's 100% right demandable. Guarantees sexual and reproductive rights without discrimination on account of age. In fact, in Section 3, freedom of choice as to reproductive services is fully guaranteed for everyone, and that includes freedom of choice of children and teenagers. Finally, our economists have spoken, and our Constitution says the same thing, that a robust population growth assures the country of human capital, which is the primary social economic force. Those are words from the Constitution. Sex education, they want to have it mandatory. They're already doing it. They have been doing it in this country as life skills education, where children in school are taught that they have sexual rights and that two of the obstacles to their rights are religion and family. Population control and family planning has been here for 38 years, since the 1970s. And it has reduced, after 38 years, the number of children in a family from 6 in the 70s to 2 or 3 today. Access to contraceptives, it's been accessible all along. Don't even need a prescription. So it's all been here. So why is there a need to file a law for access, for sex education, for population control? That is why we are saying there is no wisdom nor legal support for this.